Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another roleplay review, this time going over Baka's log, Schoolhouse Rumors. And there we go. Oh, nope. Is that the wrong one? That's the wrong one. That's the right one. Sorry. I'm new at this. Yes, welcome. We're going to do another roleplay review over Beretta, Kakuzui. Kakugo ga ii ka. And in this log, this has Beretta, NPCs Kyle, Janet, Yuri Yamata, though she doesn't speak in this log. And the arc is the unnamed one currently. It'll be updated later if it gets named. Previous log to this were Letters from a Ghost, and the next log is Escaping the Sub-Basement. And the synopsis of this log here that we have is this log is a follow-up on the fake letters left behind for the students Baka, Kyle, and Janet, and the impact it's had on Baka's life. In a matter of days, rumors fill the school, and Baka is made out to be a villain on several fronts in his life. With nobody left on his side, what road will these events take him down? Summary of events at the bottom if you don't want to read the whole log. So we're going to jump down to the bottom and go through the summary of this log. And it starts off with Janet ignoring Baka's calls. So yes, at the beginning of this log, Baka is going to his school and his buddy Janet is ignoring his calls, ignoring his text, hanging up as soon as he dials, and she brushes him off when directly confronted. So eventually they get into the classroom and they see each other and he's like, yo, like, what up? And he doesn't say that. I wish he would. I wish he would just be like, yo, why you bugging? Why didn't you answer none of my calls or text? But it seems that every student, not just Janet, is treating Baka differently today. And at the end of the school day, Kyle brings Baka to the woodshop class and shows him a post on the school site claiming Koshoro Byako was a drug dealer for Beretta. And the post has staged photos and captions to write that narrative. So, yeah. Beretta kind of finds out that nobody is really messing with him at school, and everybody's like giving him the cold shoulder, kind of like the kind of stuff that goes on in typical high school life. But then come to find out that due to the glorious nature of social media, everybody has seen these, and it says right there, staged or doctored photos of our friend Baka and Kosho, and it looks like that Kosho is dealing drugs, a drug called Mind Freak. And that's very important. So let's see here. Judging by the response to the post, the consensus of readers, mostly students, is that they are convinced that Baka does mind freak and was given a spot on the keyball team unfairly because of his dealings with Koshoro. Now, Kyle admits to having done the post himself, and this causes Baka to lose control and attack Kyle. During their scuffle, Kyle forcefully administers Mind Freak to Baka, making him lose his mind and energy go haywire. Oh, are we going to talk about that one? And then Baka overwhelms Kyle. The Metavide police arrest an unconscious Baka, and a critical condition Kyle is taken to the hospital. The log ends with Yuri Yamata, the school counselor, taking pride in the scenario she orchestrated, knowing full well these events would blow up in Beretta's future. So that's what happens in log, right? They have a confrontation. In here, there is a moment where I was like, that was good. And before I jump too deeply into how I feel about this log and talking about this log. This log, it sins. It sins in a very hard way, and it's the only like really negative thing that I have to say about it. And the sins of this log may be a result in the backlog of stuff that has gone on. Baka has been involved with a lot of Kosho logs, and because of the whole situation, we're just kind of trying to figure out how to navigate through those. And then there's some other logs where Baka probably has, at this point, earned enough to be tier 1. But the sin that Baka does here is that Baka is still tier 0 and is like just not role playing in tier 0. And I understand, and I'm trying to get this nitpick out of the way so I can get to the good parts and the stuff that I loved about this log, because this was a good one. But everybody, please embrace tier 0, right? If your character is still tier 0, embrace that. Be okay with not having energy. Be okay with it still budding and needing to come out and express itself. Because while I understand it's because of the Mind Freak, it's still a reason to break tier and to go beyond what it was. If anything, one shot with this stuff in him should have wrecked him, right? And when I mean wrecked, like put Baka into critical condition. The way that I would do this at tier 0, if it were me, were to say, like, yes, he was given a drug. The drug is supposed to, you know, I don't even actually really know what the drug does. I probably have to go back into another log and find it. But if the drug is to enhance a person or bring out their energy and go off of their emotions, the body isn't ready to do that, so it completely destroys it, or it doesn't work, or it works in a way that's not supposed to. Because we're not there yet. Like, this drug seems like it's a tier 1 or 2 affecting kind of ordeal, or maybe you have to be those tiers for the drug part to take effect, and if you're not, there's this huge, you know, I guess after effect or a different effect to it. But that's the only sin that this one does, is that when it got to the actual battle and Baka was like showing an aura and things like that, like that's just not what a tier 0 is ready to do, right? Subtle ways of like a spark around not a finger, but a fist, right? Or, you know, maybe eyes like changing color, like subtle things of it budding, but not to the extent where there's any kind of control over it. But that's really my gripe. That was really the only thing that I read it and I was looking at, like, of all the things that was going on here, that is something that kind of held it back. But there was a lot that I like here. I'll say that Baka has really leveled up. And when I say leveled up, I mean the writer has leveled up. Like, at the very beginning, we get a nice opening scene. You know, the winter winds of Vitae City are coming to an end as the warmth of spring bellowed in. Like, just the overall writing has developed more, and I'll say it's the Eichenbahn effect, right? Like, RPing with Ike really brings out the best in people and allows you to see, you know, things that you can talk about to elevate a scene that you're expressing, and having that scene match the mood. I will say, like, that opening kind of gave it like a really happy and flowery, and you know, spring is sprung and rebirth, and like it was just kind of like a and then as the log goes in, it's like then the flowers started to shrivel. Then the happiness went away and very quickly just become something different. And I said on the mud, I was like, this feels like Euphoria Ball Z. And if you guys haven't seen Euphoria, I've never seen it either, but like the gist of it is just a bunch of really messed up high school kids going through really messed up stuff. One's addicted to drugs, and there's all kind of, you know, I think it's a Showtime show, so you can think of all the other weird kinky things that are going on there, but that's what this gives me, right? Or 13 Reasons Why. Like, there's just a lot of bullying, a lot of just, you know, showing someone feeling, I won't say left out, because it definitely feels like Beretta had these people as friends before. Maybe not Kyle. Maybe Kyle's always been kind of like just a prick, and, you know, just that that kid in school that just like you were the target that they needed to annoy. He seems like he might have always been that, but even more so now. Just kind of like the whole school, the kind of pointing fingers and being like, oh, it's that guy. Like I said before, like, oh, you see this guy over here? Which I'm sure the writer has probably had feelings and dealings of before, as everybody has. Everybody's been through high school and all the fun that was. So it was a very deep look into like the especially around social media, like the negativity of it, because what then gets even more interesting, and I thought was a cool idea, was, people posting about it in a way like hashtag justice for Olga and cheaters never win, expel Baka, hashtag expel Baka. Sorry, Baka, showing your age, man. It don't work like that anymore. We don't have to hashtag anymore to do things. But like at the time of social media's height, like that's what it would look like. That's how people would get posts and start posting on things like that. So it was cool. And then there was another part where Baka doesn't even know that they have been influenced by Mind Freak, because they were like, maybe dude had it on his fingertips, and when he kind of gave him the old like fake buddy, he like wiped it on like the back of his neck, and then that's how he got messed up on Mind Freak. So a lot of good stuff here, a lot of deep stuff, especially when you start talking about drugs and things like that. I was really worried about it, because while we are an adult style role play, like drugs is another subject where it's like, if you go too far into this, like maybe it shouldn't be on channel. But I think we kind of kept it in the vein of like shonen anime, by it being this like causes you to go berserk kind of ordeal, rather than it be like something hardcore, which I won't say the names of them, but you can imagine some of the other illicit substances that people might indulge in real life. And I was really glad we weren't going that route, because that would have been a little too far. But keeping it into this thing that is almost like a bioweapon, it's almost like Venom is what it really reminds me of. Keeping it like that, I thought that was great. And then especially the setup, right, of like you set me up, you took these pictures, you doctor them, you're slandering this person's name in Koshoro and using me for it. And it kind of raises some questions, like, why does this counselor even care to orchestrate something like this? Like, why do they want to tarnish Koshoro? Why do they want to make the Beretta look bad? Like, why are they out there to do this? As this was going on, and we were talking about the posts and like the pictures and everything, I'm like, oh yeah, that's easy to dispute. Like, yeah, we got this, right? Here are some ideas that Bakken can throw out, and this is problem solved. But then the fight breaks out, and when the fight breaks out, it ends up like being in front of the school. That's how he gets caught. Like, they're fighting, and I think they even like break through the wall and go into like the library. So they really like throw the house down, and everybody does get to see Beretta, actually assault this person. So it's like, oh, now you in trouble. Like, you can't refute that, where you actually did the thing and you assaulted this person. And yeah, you wrecked them and almost killed them, possibly killed them in front of people. Like, there are witnesses now, right? Like, you straight up caught a body and got caught in 4K on it. So little hard to refute that. And I like that. I like that there is no really way out. Now, I will say this to the writer: write something happy. Right? Like, I won't say all, but a lot of your characters are going like through this doom and gloom, and I understand like there's a difference between like doom and depressing and strife and struggle. Like, I would give Baka a friend, right? And not somebody who's trying to use him, or not like a true friend. And like, I'd like to see Baka smile again. And You know, have somebody be like, all right, yeah, you got set up. We gonna get you out of here. Like, don't lose hope, man. It's gonna be okay. Life's bigger and better than this. You know, like that's what I hope that we eventually get for this character at some point. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I enjoyed this log. It's Schoolhouse Rumors. We're probably gonna be back in a little bit, and it probably won't be, a little bit, but we'll be back eventually for Escaping the Sub basement. And yeah, I will catch y'all on the next log.